What's up, my people? Today we are talking about how to stop someone from gaslighting you. Has that ever happened to you? You're just like, you know what? How do I just make it stop? How do I just leave behind the world in which I am gaslightable? Well, if you've ever felt that way, I'm going to tell you how to do it in a way that is repeatable and memorable, and you will never ever forget how. That's what we're doing today. So while you're here, smash that subscribe button, drop me a note, let me know what you think, and let's dive in. So let's talk about this. How do you stop someone from gaslighting you? And here's the thing, I want to answer that question at two levels. We're going to talk about the inner work required to stop someone from gaslighting you, and then we're going to talk about the outer work required to stop someone from gaslighting you. Because the fact is, some of this is an inside job, right? We can't blame it all on other people. The truth of it is, if we understand how to create a space of inner resilience and inner strength, it's a hell of a lot harder to gaslight us. But if we think the whole problem is just out there, we're missing the point. To get people to stop gaslighting you, you have to become resilient internally. What does that mean? You got to do the inner work. Inner work means cultivating actively every day a sense of self-trust, right? Maybe it's a meditation practice. Maybe it's a yoga practice. Whatever kind of practice, journaling allows you to get quiet enough consistently and for a long enough period of time so that you can hear your own voice, because this world is incredibly noisy. This world is constantly trying to tell you you're not enough, you're not fit enough, you're not tall enough, you're not strong enough, you're not pretty enough, whatever the things are. It is a constant, steady stream that exists inside of our phones, on television, wherever you want to be, that says you are not enough. Therefore, we're going to sell you a bunch of stuff. Or therefore, you're going to do this new 5-day boot camp, whatever the hell. The problem with that is that if we don't cultivate a place where we can be the eye of the storm, right? The place of peace and quiet inside ourselves, we are susceptible to anything and everything, especially gaslighting. So what does that mean? What it means is we can't cultivate self-trust unless we have experience with trusting ourselves. So start small. If this is like a radical concept for you and you're like, oh my God, I hate being alone. I don't like meditation. I mean, nobody likes meditation so hard, but I hate being alone. I don't want to sit and listen to my own thoughts. It's all kinds of crazy in here. Listen, start small. Start by taking a walk downtown or wherever where there's food and things, and just by yourself, ask yourself, what do I feel like right now? And give it to yourself and enjoy it. Don't ask somebody else what they want for lunch or where they think you ought to go. Do something that you want to do and enjoy it. And get acquainted with the feeling of listening to your own needs, right? Another way to practice self-trust is when you've got to make a decision, instead of calling 10 people and getting their opinions, do some journaling. What does the deepest part of me think and feel about this situation, right? Interview yourself the way you would interview any of the other people you're asking for advice for all the time, right? Ask the highest part of you, not the scared part of you, not the small part of you that's like, oh my God, everybody hates me and I'm dying. Not that part of you. I'm talking about the big part of you, the part of you that was born whole before the world got a hold of you and told you weren't enough. That's the part of you I want you to interview. And if you're like, what does that mean? It could be as simple as literally pen and paper. Higher self, what should I do about blah, blah, blah? What is the deal with blah, blah, blah? Get into a dialogue. Self-trust is like a relationship with another person, only it's with yourself, but it takes time. It takes practice. It takes a track record, right? Carve out time every single day to come home to yourself, to be grounded in yourself. Work with that. Because the more solid you are internally, the more grounded you are, and the more sure you are that no matter what happens in this world, you have a place to come home to. You have a voice that you trust inside of yourself, right? That's huge. Inner work. Cultivate self trust. Now, that's the inner work. Let's talk about the outer work. How do you get someone to stop gaslighting you? Well, the outer work is that you got to call them out on it, which doesn't always feel good. It's not always fun. Nobody said this work was going to be fun, but it is powerful. And when I say call them out on it, you know me, if you watch these videos, I love a timeout. Timeout. What you're telling me is not lining up with my experience of what I observed or what I felt or what I heard in that conversation. There's a disconnect here, and I'm happy to talk through what you thought and what I thought and what you heard and what I heard. I'm happy to do that. What I'm not going to do is have you dismiss my truth, right? So it's like a timeout and then I'm willing to do X, but I'm not willing to do Y. For example, let's say somebody's gaslighting you without even words. They're just giving you one of these looks. You're trying to speak your truth. You're trying to share something that you believe in. They're gaslighting you into thinking you're not worth it. You're not worth listening to, or that your concerns aren't valid. Just a facial expression can be a gaslighting moment. That's the opportunity for the timeout. Whoa, timeout. I can tell by that facial expression that you're reacting to what I've said. Happy to talk through any disconnect. What I won't do is negotiate on what I know to be true for me, right? So if you think about it, time out, tell them what you are willing to do and what you're not willing to do. What that little system does, time out. Here's what I'm willing to do, here's what I'm not willing to do. What that little system does is it trains them on how to communicate with you. They may still gaslight every other person in the office, but they won't come for you because you know how to call a timeout and get clear, crystal clear on what the rules of engagement are. Another strategy to get people to stop gaslighting you is to call a timeout and say, hey, timeout. I get the sense that you're trying to tell me something, but I'm not understanding it completely. Make them own what they're saying. And if they're like, you know what I mean. No, I don't. I need you to say it clearly. What are you trying to say right now? Because gaslighters love to say just enough to twist you up. They love to say just enough to get you to feel ashamed or to feel bad. And then they make their play and they manipulate you into doing something you don't want to do, right? Here's a non-work example. Let's say it's the holidays and you and your partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, always go to so-and-so's house for Christmas. The problem is so-and-so's house is a little toxic. It's a little toxic. And not only is it toxic, people aren't nice to you there. So this year you say, you know what? I'm actually not open to going to so-and-so's house anymore. I feel bad about myself when I go there. People aren't very nice to me. I'm just not interested anymore. And let's say that your partner, your spouse, your girlfriend, whatever, shakes their head and gives you the you're so selfish face, right? That's gaslighting. That's trying to talk you out of your boundary. You've just established a boundary. I will not go to that house anymore. It makes me feel bad about myself. People aren't nice to me there, right? What you want to do is go, whoa, time out. What are you trying to say with that face? Make them own it. And if they say, this face is trying to tell you that you're being selfish because this is our tradition, this is what we always do. You can say, whoa, got to stop you there. I don't think it's selfish for me to protect my heart and the way I'm treated. If you want to go there, by all means go there, but it's not selfish. I'm totally willing to negotiate a different Christmas strategy, but what I'm not willing to do is go to where I am mistreated, period, right? Do you see what I'm doing here? Gaslighters really, really benefit when there's momentum and they're able to manipulate you and get you to feel bad and they get you questioning your sanity, by calling a timeout and making them own their thing, own what it is they're saying or insinuating. And you're able to have a conversation of what you are willing and not willing to do or talk about or engage in. That's how you do it. Now, in a work situation, you may only be able to have that conversation once or twice before you start getting punished for it. Because to be clear, if your gaslighter at work has power over you in the hierarchy and you are calling a timeout, you're establishing boundaries, you're calling them out. If they're above you and they have power over you, they are going to find ways to punish you. They will stall your career. They will find ways to make sure you don't get on the good, juicy projects. They're going to start to punish you if they are narcissistic gaslighters, right? Those are gaslighters that aren't interested in becoming better communicators. They're just out for themselves. If that's the situation you are in, it doesn't matter how often you call them out. If they're higher up in the organization and they have power over you, they're going to win this battle. And the best thing you can do is dust off that resume, honey, and get looking for another gig. Having said that, if they are at your level or beneath you, you can make huge progress by calling them out repeatedly, right? It may be that they're not narcissistic gaslighters. They just don't have the tools, and that's just how they learned to communicate growing up. In which case, they're going to grow and get better because of you. That's the important distinction. If you want to get someone to stop gaslighting you, if they are a decent human being and they just have a bad communication habit, they'll stop gaslighting you and they will become better communicators. But if you're dealing with a narcissistic gaslighter, you can try to get them to stop gaslighting you, but they're not gonna. Because once a narcissist, always a narcissist. And if that's what you're dealing with, you get that resume ready. LinkedIn is a big place. There are 1 million options for you. I don't care how bad the market is. Talent always finds a way. Excellence always finds a way. And you are excellent. How come I know that? Because you're still here with me in this video, listening and doing the work, right? So just to recap, you want to get somebody to stop gaslighting you, do the inner work of cultivating self-trust, of cultivating inner stillness and inner strength. Then do the outer work. Work on the timeout. Work on the reestablishing what you are not willing to do. Get them to own their stuff and watch what happens. I hope that was helpful. Thank you for being here. Shine on, my friend. We need your light. I'll see you next time.